All right, let's get to the topic. Problem with self-defense. The problem with self-defense with Jesus is the unique value and worth of humans. So I ask you this, are humans valuable because of what they do, or are they valuable because of who they are?
Magtech is the only pistol or rifle ammo I use on the range, and I recommend them highly. I've seen their manufacturing and quality control firsthand, and it's incredible, which is why it always performs reliably and accurately. They are operating at max capacity and cranking out rounds for you to keep your skills sharp. Pick up some Magtech at your local ammo retailer or get it shipped fast at luckygunner.com.
What do you think? Who they are. Okay, so this is a fundamental tenet of our anthropology as followers of Jesus, is that human beings, by their very nature, are of inestimable value, worth, and dignity. It's literally, a human being is literally the most uniquely valuable thing in the universe. Jesus talks about leaving the 99 to go and find the one, and the incredible value that he places on humans. Well, we're talking about literally at times killing them. That is a problem. A human being is the only part of creation that God says, I have put my image in that. So you think about it, what made Adam a human being? Right, so do you know what the name Adam means? No, it means dirt. Adamah is dry ground in Hebrew. The name, does that make sense? How did God make Adam?
Out of the dust.
Just some dirt. Put the dirt together. When I breathed the breath of life, when God breathed the breath of life into him, aha, now Adam became a living soul. He became a human being. When God breathed his spirit and his breath of life into him, now he's uniquely, God said that he is given in the image of God, he created him male and female. So that statement in Genesis 1:26 and 27 is about the unique value and worth of all humans. The categories that they had available, right? Male and female. I don't care. That's a radical statement in the ancient Near East. Women are imbued with the image of God too, not just men. Yes, both of equal value, worth, and dignity. Radically mind-shifting accusation to make, statement to make in 3500 or probably 1500 BC. Hugely crazy to a Sumerian way of life, to a Babylonian way of thinking. What? Okay, cool. So the problem here is that the unique value and worth of humans means that when we're talking about self-defense, when we're talking about the idea of using force against that human, because, I mean, when we talk about use of deadly force, the root there is force. I am forcing someone. Of course, the same thing, when you talk about someone as a law enforcement officer, what's the key word here? What's the root term? Force. One who enforces. What does that mean? To use force to ensure an outcome. I don't know about you, I don't like being forced to do things. At all. When somebody goes, I might do something, then you go, no, you have to. Well, now I'm not gonna. Just because you want me to, just because you say I have to, I'm not doing it anymore. We do that. Well, the problem, of course, it's like I said, well, I don't want to pay my taxes. We will lock you in a cage. No, you're not. Well, she'll kill you then. And that's where I always tell people, be careful what laws you want, because remember, at the end of the day, every law is backed up with, and if you don't, we'll kill you. Mm-hmm. Even if you say, well, no, these laws aren't backed up like that. It's punishable by a fine. Punishable by a fine, by the way, means legal for a price. Mm-hmm. Number one. Number two, but what if you say, no, I'm not paying your fine? I was okay to do what I did. No, we're going to make a bigger fine. No, I'm not paying that either. I'm fine to do what I'm doing. You can't force me. Well, now we're going to lock you in a cage because you didn't pay the fine that we said you had to pay. I'm not going into your cage. Well, no, we'll kill you. So at the end of the day, punishable by a fine is enforced to the point of death. Unless they don't. Remember what happened at Bundy Ranch? Mm-hmm. All the Fed boys, now listen, I don't think from a political perspective, I'm not talking politically, but they all showed up and the Fed boys are like, all right, we'll fight you for it, and everybody's got guns. And like, all right, we're going to give as good as we get, bro. And eventually the Feds go, yeah, we weren't as serious about that as we thought. We're going home. We'll see you in court, buddy. He won that, by the way. He won that in court. Ammon Bundy still ended up dead.
Yeah.
He pointed a gun at a bunch of Fed boys. That was a stupid idea. Anyways, our responsibility is to protect the fellow human life. So we have a responsibility to protect life. If anything, Jesus is intimately interested in protecting human life. And not just good human life. Remember how Jesus talks about that the sun rises on the just and the unjust? God sends rain on the just and on the unjust? That's that idea of common grace. So we have a responsibility to protect life, and therefore a responsibility before God on how we work that path out. So wait a minute, when I start talking about I carry a gun every day, and why do I carry a gun every day? Because I might need to shoot somebody. I just taught a classroom session of home defense shotgun, and I showed multiple people being shot to death with a shotgun. That guy, oh yeah, watch him, and bang, oh, he's dead. 8 pellets of double-aught buck to the face. A buckshot facial is not good for your pulse, okay? But what does that mean before God, the guy that pressed the trigger? Is he violating God's word here that says, hey, wait a minute, you got to protect life? Now, I know you're self-defense folk. You're here at the Ask National Conference, and you're going, but wait a minute, he did protect life, and the guy pointed a gun at him and all that stuff. We got some arguments and discussions to make. But we have to recognize the problem first. We have to recognize the problem first. And again, the idea first and foremost is we're talking about the use of deadly force here. Any force, really, but deadly force is where we're really focusing. And we have to consider the idea of, as a believer in Jesus, can I use deadly force? Do I have the emotional makeup to do so? I know people who go, well, John, I'm here to learn handgun skills, but at the end of the day, as we talked about it, I realized I don't think I could pull the trigger on somebody. Now, for me, I look at that and say, I honor that, and I would not recommend owning or carrying guns. And I don't say that facetiously or derisively or anything like that. I just say, hey, owning a gun, having a gun in the house is a non-zero risk, because it can always be misused, could be stolen, could have an accident with it, and hurt somebody. So if you don't think that you could use that and then it doesn't provide any benefit to you, you shouldn't have them in the house. That's like, I don't own a chainsaw. I mean, chainsaws are cool, but I just don't really have any use for one in the house. And they're inherently dangerous. Now, I know you put a guard on the chain and all that stuff, but I'm like, but I don't have a use for it. I don't got no trees to cut down like that in my yard, and if I do, okay, bougiest statement I'll make all weekend, I have a landscaper. Dude, we have two-thirds of an acre, and I called when we were going to buy this house. I was like, okay, but understand it comes with a landscaper because I'm not taking care of all this property. Well, I said, fine. I want somebody to come and clean the house twice a month. That's fair. Well, I can't argue with that. So, but if you don't have the ability to use deadly force, emotionally, spiritually, you couldn't handle that. That's fine. The other part of this is that when I talk about this stuff and the way that I walk with Jesus, I am telling nobody the way you got to walk with Jesus. I have friends who are full pacifists, and I honor that. Friends who are Mennonite brethren, Anabaptist traditions, and I'm not saying, fine, you do you. I'm saying I absolutely honor you following Jesus in the way that you find best. 100%. Just like the other issues we were talking about earlier, if you're different than me on that, that has no problems in my soul. You walk with Jesus the best way you find. I'm going to walk with Jesus the best way I find. I believe in Romans 14 and 15, one of the big things the Apostle Paul teaches us there is, one person walks by faith in this way, one person walks by faith in that way. If they're both firmly convinced that they are following Jesus, then they're both probably fine. I'm totally okay with that. Especially if it doesn't hurt me. Somebody goes, well, John, I believe it's a spiritual thing. I can't ever say no to authority. I have to submit to authority, so I have to do what the government says no matter what. I honor that. I am not that guy. I am chaotic good at best. Pure motives, questionable methods. Right? I really am. I'm that guy that if your law is stupid, I refuse to follow. No, that law's dumb. No, I'm not doing it. No. I'm just not. And why? Because a stupid law is not a law. Well, but they'll punish you for it. Fine, break it. I accept the punishment. Speed limits are suggestions. They are. You realize you be ticketed going the speed limit, right? If it's raining cats and dogs at night in the fog, and you're doing the speed limit on that road, you're going to get a ticket. Because it's always a safe and prudent speed. Now, an officer may disagree with me what a safe and prudent speed looks like. And they may get to make that final determination. And I'll go before the judge and say, I believe it was a safe and prudent speed. The judge says, you're stupid. Here's your fine. You suck. Legal for a price. Okay. Anyways, deadly force in the believer. Got to think about that. Now,